Hey, what's up guys, this is Brad with Spy Fitness, and today I'm gonna kind of do a throwback video. This video is a bit dated, right? It's back from January 12th of 2021. So older video, just FYSA. It's a bench session with Olive going through and getting ready for her meet prep. Kind of going through and coaching her and getting her, ramped up and ready to do her first meet. I also had my buddy Dan there with me, doing some training and kind of getting after it. I already know, kind of on the front end of this, I've often got a lot of criticism for my bench in terms of like, those aren't full reps. You can feel however you feel and you can bench however you want to bench. I choose to bench the way that I choose to bench due to the fact of just kind of keeping things moving, right? I have found that I prefer to just kind of keep it moving versus hitting the full lockout, stopping, and then, returning and continuing that way. It has drawn some criticism in terms of it not being full reps or whatever. And you know what, to be fair, it may not ultimately have been the right way to train. It is how I train. So some people could make the argument about the full rep being the more appropriate way to do the bench. I opted to kind of keep continuous pressure, and certainly if the reps felt smooth enough where I knew that I could lock it out, I often didn't bother. Whereas as I get tired or as I'm beginning to wear down, you will often see me, take the rep, pause, hold, catch my breath, and then do another rep, right? So more kind of like the so-called standard or, the expectation that people have in terms of how a rep is supposed to look. It's just an option. It's just how I chose to train. It's perhaps you could make the argument too that maybe there's some ego involved on my part for doing it that way because I can bang out more reps if I'm not fully locking them out, et cetera, et cetera. Again, argument for the good or for the bad. Bottom line is that ended up being just how I trained and what you end up seeing again in this particular video. Even looking at some of the footage, I know that will be probably a criticism, and that's fair. If you look at it and you think, however you think, that it isn't full reps and the reps don't count, that's one way to think. However, I would say that in terms of training, right, unless you are a power lifter at a powerlifting meet, the exact execution of the form becomes less and less important. Are you getting work done? Yeah. Could perhaps the work be maybe more effective, or could you make it more challenging? Yeah. If that were the argument, then everything would be tempoed. You would, all of your rep work would be tempoed, and so if it's on the basis of just making the lift harder, there are certainly ways that you can make your average lifts much harder. Work still is work, and so again, not to go too much on the defensive for someone's criticism of what they may feel my bench should or shouldn't be or whatever. I was fairly successful in my powerlifting career. Most of what I do is just kind of training, some running, jumping, fucking around at this point, and just trying to stay strong. So, I know that there are probably some people that feel some kind of way, but the thing that I want to say to everyone is that, the strictest standards of form and execution of the lift really only becomes relevant if you're talking about a powerlifting meet. Aside from that, that argument begins to kind of wane to a large degree because, bottom line, you're still getting work done. There is still beneficial training effect and things like that. So could it be better? Probably, perhaps. Could it be more effective? Maybe. But again, that's just how I elected to go about my training. You may choose to do something different, and that's entirely up to you. Yeah, that's kind of how I feel about that. So this is a training session, Olive and I, with Dan, getting in, doing some benching, some other stuff, and having a good time. Again, throwback video, but I still feel like the training, what we were doing, all that's still relevant, still carries forward with, hopefully kind of inspiring you guys to get in the gym and, thinking about your training. And that's really the best thing I could hope for is to do and demonstrate and show things to you that get you thinking about training or energetic about training, and considering what you're doing and why. Anyway, hopefully you like the video, and if you like the video, give it a thumbs up, and check it on the backside. I have a little interview and kind of talk with Olive a little bit on the backside. So here we go. Better. Oh, nice. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There, girl. There you go. Settle it in. Good. Tuck. Legs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Drive it out. Big breath. Reset. Drive the legs. Drive. There you go. Yep.
Come on, tight. Oh, man. Put some fucking weight on it, man.
Roll it up. So don't do that in the press. Try to knock it out like that.
Oh, like a tricep thing. Oh, that's gross. So here,
Yeah.
here, and then just like.
Yeah, sort of.
What? These don't even.
Good.
Oh.
Double high. There you go.
Oh, what the fuck?
Ready?
Yeah. Why are you looking at me asking if I'm ready when you're not doing it? What? That doesn't even make sense. Like 3 and then
Can you hang from that, honestly? That's fucked up. Oh, thank God. All right, cool. Let's say that's totally fucked up. All right, so that's you hanging from that weight there. We'll see what we can do.
That's almost like it took me almost completely to now on the floor where to start rising. It's fine.
Smooth.
This is fine. I'm fine. This is fine.
Everything's fine.
It's fine. Everything's in control. Everything's fine.
Form. That's what I was looking at.
I can't breathe now. Oh, that's fine.
so bad when I pick her up and go.
Do not.
Yeah, it's my buddy Mike.
And we're good. All right, so that's it. That's the video. Bench day, right? So hitting the volume, and this is like, honestly, if you're a powerlifter, especially if like you're looking to get into it and you're not familiar with it, like this really is like your realm where you exist most of the time. It's not super sexy, a lot of work, a lot of reps, just repetitive over and over and over again. But by laying that foundational strength and doing the work, doing the reps, whatever else, you can build that foundational strength that can lead to new PRs. So I know that like Instagram can be really, really sexy with what people are up to. I know that, you know, the YouTube videos of like so-and-so doing like whatever, super awesome, but like you're only kind of seeing the tip of the iceberg, as it were, right? Like the vast majority of what you don't see is all the work they're not showing you, which is kind of what we did today. So working with Olive, right? So I you know, just kind of hitting that volume, reinforcing some of the technique. And so with her, really what I'm trying to do is jam that volume to get that workload in there, but then also kind of working on the mechanics piece. So the more that we can get her comfortable and familiar with the mechanics, the easier and easier this will be for her. And then we can start moving her up, right? So like, I think even now, her 1 rep max is really not truly her 1 rep max by terms of absolute strength. It really is a limitation in mechanics. So that's kind of like what we're working on as you know, set by set, rep by rep. I'm sitting there coaching her, cueing her, telling her like to focus on certain aspects of the lift, and it pays off. So the nice thing for me as a coach is her as an athlete is super malleable, right? So she is already a fairly accomplished lifter in terms of like familiarity with the lifts. So when I tell her certain things, it clicks. It's not like I'm trying to explain up to a stick figure, right? Like up to a 2-dimensional figure doesn't really work out, right? They don't understand. She already has some conceptual understanding of what it is that we're doing. So like when I explain things and we talk about leg drive, we talk about breath, right? Like it's like right away. And so for you, to kind of get you to talk now, because right, so with the cues and stuff that I'm giving you as you're going along, like how do you feel about what it is that I'm providing for you in terms of how it feels step by step, rep by rep?
So like being given those cues, like tuck your elbows, take a breath, it's like those are like the little things that you miss, that you don't really think about in the terms of lift. Like all you're thinking about is pushing that weight, you know? So like in my mind it's like, oh shit, that's right, I need a tuck. Like I'm not paying attention to if my elbows are firing out or not. I'm paying attention to, okay, I gotta get this up off my chest. Yep. Or I'm not paying attention to like, oh, are my legs are tight? Are they driving? Because in my mind it's like, oh, I'm working my chest. For the longest time I was like, my chest is just my chest. I didn't really put the full picture together, but like, no, that's like my entire fucking body.
Whole body.
So,
yeah.
Being given those cues is like me reminding myself to, so it's like I can start giving myself those cues and just like reminding my body to do it without actually having to like think about reminding my body to do it.
Cool. So it's good. I'm very grateful so far with what we have and kind of how she was responding to like what I have to offer. Because always like I can be telling her things and she'd be like, I don't know what you're saying, bro, right? So like, it's good that we're able to communicate and you're able to understand kind of what it is I'm trying to convey to you. And then it's good for me because she's able to incorporate that like immediately. So very, very cool. Very excited to see what we're gonna get over the next few weeks. This block is gonna be a fairly short block, right? So it's gonna progress quick and we're gonna be like right at the meet before we even know it. So I hope that you guys will continue to stay tuned and check out all of her progress and just kind of follow that story along to see how she does on her very first meet. If you guys have any questions, comments, or concerns, drop in the chat box below. I'll be sure to respond. I appreciate you guys continuing to support me on the channel with everything that you guys have done. I really do appreciate it. And if this is maybe like the second or third video you've checked out, you know you're probably going to end up watching more of her. So just get it over with and go ahead and sub now. I'd love to have you join the family. That's it, guys. Remember, no matter what it is you think you can't do, you got to get in, train despite. You're either going to find an excuse, you're going to find a way. And I hope that you guys continue to find a way. Thanks for checking this one out. We'll see you in the next one.